you're listening to Julie Taylor, and this is Julie and Company. Today my guest is Jacques-André Dupont, wildlife photographer since 2012. Hi,
yeah,
how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Julie.
Thanks for being here. So 2012, you go back to photography, wildlife photography, and in that same year, you get a great call.
Yeah, I guess I was a lucky dude because it started strong for me. I used to do photography, but I left for many reasons for a while and came back in 2012 and was drawn to nature and wildlife photography for many reasons, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But the thing is, right away out of the bath, within a few months, National Geographic wrote to me and they asked to do an article with my images, and they wanted also to do a photo of the day on all their digital platforms with one of my photos. So
is that what they call beginner's luck?
It is.
Is there a special spirit to doing something for almost the first time? Almost. I know it's not your first time, but to go and do wildlife photography, is there magic to these moments where you were permeable perhaps to something that's guiding your hand?
Totally. For example, I go every year to Africa for wildlife photography. And because of that, a lot of people call me when it's time to organize their safari, you know? And
you mean your friend groups call you, listen, we'd like to go to Africa and do a safari. You know everyone there.
Help us. And every time I think about the fact that I'm jealous because they're going to look at Africa for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And the feeling is unbelievable. And still today, I have a feeling, but the first one is amazing.
So it's humbling.
It's humbling, and I don't know for everyone, but for me, it was life-changing.
Tell me more about that.
Well, you want to feel alive. You want to feel emotions. And for me, I had never felt like that before.
And what emotions are we talking about?
You're in front of something that is grandiose. All your senses are hit in so many ways. There's a soundtrack to Africa that you don't hear here.
Is it a heartbeat?
It is life. You know, it's the sound of life.
Grid of life.
Yeah, in the morning because when you do game drives and you go in the wild in Africa, you wake up before the sunrise.
Yes.
And so you're there when nature wakes up.
Do you think that in that space, you're really connected to your own primal nature? Is that what you're beating to or feeling? Less superficial and deeper, more, I won't say visceral, but just the drum of life where you're connected to the grid?
I haven't tried to explain it, but I guess that what you're saying is true. And it's also a drug. Because when you feel that, you want to feel it again. So I guess it's nature's heroin, you know, that I want to have again and again and again.
Oh, heroin.
Heroin.
Heroin. Okay, so it's the drug.
Yeah, it's the drug. It's a fix. It's amazing how you feel when you're in that situation and when you connect with nature. And it's the same, for example, when I walk in the wood in Bolton West in the fall, the smell of the fall, you know, and when you walk in February, the soundtrack of your foot
crushing the
snow. So all of this, I guess I'm hyper connected to that or open to it.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just joy and bonheur total.
So back to Africa.
Yeah.
You felt so alive and you get up at dawn, because you also said that even though you're now world renowned, you've won many accolades and prizes for your photography. For you, it's the journey, and not the destination per se.
Yeah,
tell us about that journey.
The destination being the photo. I'm happy to bring back amazing photos, but I'm happier to go get them and to be there and to be in the moment. I do conferences, and sometimes I say to a photographer, just put the camera down, because you're going to miss a lot of things when you're just doing photography. Because when you're doing photography, you have a small point of view because your eyes are in the camera and you don't see 360 what's happening around you. So you need to
put the camera down.
And I have a funny story, because I was in Yellowstone and I convinced two of my pals we're going to walk without our cameras. Just let's put them down, you know. And so we start working. And then I see that bison.
Yeah.
And this bison had about 12 birds on its back.
Oh.
And for me, I already had the title of the photo because I said to myself, c'est l'autobus. You know,
l'autobus ou 12 bottles of beer on the wall.
Yeah, something like that. So I ran back to get my camera and to do the image. So I had said, let's put them down.
Yeah.
But when you see something extraordinary, you're happy to have a camera.
So Africa, special place. Do you travel there often?
Yeah, I go there every year, sometimes twice a year. And actually, it's because of my wife. When I turned 50 years old, she said, that's your gift. We're going to Africa. And so I was excited because I was already doing wildlife photography, but here in Quebec and in America, Yellowstone and so on. And of course, Africa is another ball game. So I went there as a family, and our first trip there was the three of us, my daughter, my wife, and I. And it was extraordinary. But then I started going alone because I like to be in that bubble.
Yeah.
And obviously, my wife is not too keen about the fact that I might stay 4 hours and wait for a lion to wake up.
Yeah.
And she's not interested about that.
Right.
So I go alone because I'm in a photography process, but also because I'm in my bubble. And it's a creative space as well. I write a lot when I'm in Africa.
So in 2012, when you got a call from National Geographic to put a certain image on their website across all platforms, which image was that and how did you get it?
So the image was images about northern gannets. You have in Gaspésie at l'île Bonaventure the largest colony of northern gannets in America, maybe in the world. So it's 50,000 couples that are there in June.
Did you travel there on your own?
I was doing a masterclass with Chris Dodds, an amazing photographer who's kind of a
mentor?
A mentor and someone that helped me better my skills. And so I was with him and I spent 3 days on Île Bonaventure photographing gannets, and it's amazing. It's amazing because you're surrounded by 100,000 individuals that are gathering material to create nests because it's going to be baby season.
Busy. There's
so
a
they're
lot
really
of busy
activity, and it's kind of a merry-go-round. You have to imagine that on top of you there's thousands and thousands of birds that are flying in circles, because the way they will re-find their nests with 50,000, it's with sound. So they remember the sound of their partner, of their mate.
Yeah.
And
so the mates are yelling to them.
Yeah. So it's quite
noisy.
It
must be an assault on your own senses. Like you're blanketed.
Well, you go in their movie. You're part of their life, you know. So because your point of view changes when you're in nature. Because you see things that you're not used to see. You see death in nature a lot, you know. So people say, is it gross? Is it scary? And the answer is no, because you're in a different context. You know that it's nature way of doing things. It's the circle of life, the good old Disney film line. And you know that if that animal doesn't eat, it's going to die.
It's going to be food.
Yeah, exactly. So again, when I was there, you're part of their world, and so you get into it and you forget.
Does it make you trust life more to see, whether it's in Africa or here in Quebec, when you see nature and how it functions, because it's not segregated. You have many parts working together, whether it's the cycle of nature and the cycle of the animals interacting together. Is there a sense that you can trust life?
There's a sense that you understand that it's grandiose beyond anything you can understand.
Oh, well.
That's how you feel. Because when we are in our lives, you know, we do stuff. But when you get into that mode in nature, just take a walk in the woods, you'll feel it. And I've read studies. Nature makes you better, helps your health.
Absolutely.
And everything. So that's how I see it, or I feel it.
And I heard you say before, because we had a chit chat, that your wife had pointed that you should go back to photography, do something for yourself, and manage your energies better, because you were an entrepreneur for many years, successful entrepreneur, and that was a doorway to that. And so my question would be, do you think that that feeling that you get in nature and the trusting that which is almost incomprehensible allowed you to surrender?
It allowed me to be in better health. I was diagnosed with anxiety, panic.
And wouldn't that come from micromanaging almost?
It comes from, I don't know where it comes from. It comes from probably micromanaging or wanting to have control. It comes from too many hours. It comes from too much stress. It comes from you not putting yourself at the front of your life and things like that. So let's not do a session, but probably all of the above. And so photography in nature was a way to balance that and to ground myself and to...
Which brought you to relocate to this region, though you were familiar with the area forever.
We've had a house here for a while, but during the pandemic, I decided to let go of all my operational roles in companies. So I said to myself, I don't want to manage employees anymore, and I'm tired of it. I was able to find a good team around me to take my place. And at the same time, we decided to come to Bolton, West Knowlton, and be full-time community members.
So you moved here full-time.
Yep.
And you had a piece of land.
Yeah, the house is 1796, I think. 1896. It's an old farm, beautiful farm with nice pastures, but they were empty. And during the pandemic, I said to myself, we need to do something with that.
How did the idea come about, or how did you activate on that idea?
I put a Facebook post.
Oh, yeah?
Saying my wife and I want to help a young agriculteur, and with a project that we could help. We got about 100 proposals.
Yes.
So I was overwhelmed. That created stress. And my wife was angry at me because she said...
you had to define it better.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at the end, it was great because we were able to meet Émilie Tremblay, and she created Les Pâturages du Lac Brome.
Right. I met Emily last summer at the Brome Farmers Market here in Bolton.
Yeah, she was here last year. This year, she's in Bolton East, but she operates here on a few pastures, and she does amazing work regenerating the soil and doing amazing meat with her chicken, and the lamb is amazing. So great food, locally grown, with respect with the environment.
The environment is a really important aspect, I think. To me, nature and the environment are almost inseparable now.
Yeah.
But nature is close to our heart here in the region because it's such a pristine, beautiful place to live in. The environment now is a concern for everyone. And I always feel that whether it's local commerce or anything grown locally, you're contributing in a significant way to stabilizing the economy, the energy, the land, keeping the green belt. So whether it's this way or through conservation, you seem to be pretty active in your mission to do good this way.
Yeah, I use my photography as a tool for conservation. So to talk about it, I think that when you promote nature, you help save or protect nature. So I talk
because there's a conversation with nature.
There's a conversation,
and you try to bring it home.
Yeah, and you don't want to kill what you feel is beautiful. So that's the first thing. The second thing I do is I'm lucky. I've succeeded well as a business person, and so I use my photography to bring money to causes I think are important, like la Fondation de la Faune du Québec. For example, my images are sold in Sutton at Les Choix d'Annie, and when you buy one of my image there, I'll give 50% of my revenue to Fondation de la Faune du Québec. So I try to use it for a purpose that is bigger than myself.
And this sense of being in nature and it humbling you, is it something that has been refined through photography, or did you always have that?
I always was well in nature, but for a while I forgot. Yeah. Now I don't.
Do you think that's
anymore.
the ills of humanity, to have forgotten?
Well, some people never forget, which is good. Other people like me forget. Some people never go back. I feel I'm lucky in life to be able to have access to that. Just all of us here in Knowlton, we have access to so many great nature around us. Just next to Barnes, there's the pond, and I don't know if you've seen, but there's a lot of nice wildlife there. Yeah, so there's a great egret that is always there. That's what I was going to
say. There's a lady who I was having a picnic once, and she said, "Oh my God, there's an egret here, and I'm from out of town, and I'd like to stay and do photography in the morning. Could I park my whatever?" But yes, egret seems to be one of the wildlife that call people.
And there's also cormorants that you don't see easily, but I have amazing pictures of 5 or 6 of them on the branch. So it's just next to us. So open your eyes and it's there, you know.
And speaking of open our eyes, you were telling me that when you work with your equipment, and you're doing wildlife photography, you know when you get a good picture.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your whole process. If we talk about the journey to getting the right picture,
Yeah.
what does it look like for you?
There's two ways to get a good picture. There's the way of being lucky. So you turn a corner and you see something that is amazing, but you have a split second to be able to capture that moment. And to be able to capture that moment, you need skills, you need to understand light, you need to understand technology and so on. And because you'll have a split second to capture it. So sometimes that's how it happens. Other times you have time to build the image. You arrive, the animal is not stressed. It won't leave right away. So you're able to read the situation, look where the light is good, walk, pass it, and so on. And I've had moments that are amazing. I remember in Yellowstone, I was lying down photographing a coyote that was about 500 feet. But the coyote...
Walk towards you?
Yeah. And he passed 2 feet next to me. You know, at the end, I could not photograph.
Because you had your long lens on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was too close. It was too close. So it happens those two ways. And both are fun. You're happy when you capture that split second and you look at the image and you got it. Because
You know, as you were telling me about how you go about getting your picture, it almost felt like you were an animal in nature. You had to walk. You had to read the light. You were going to say even read the room.
Yeah.
You were reading the environment.
Yeah.
You're probably capturing the wind. You're using what is elemental around you.
Yeah, and
Does
when
that
you
unite you?
Does
Do you
what?
think that has a uniting element to your subject? That you would go to that place?
I think that it's the moment when you define what's the image going to be like. You
Yeah.
know, I often go with other photographers. People think that we bring back these images, and it's not the case. Some are similar, but a lot of the times we do have a different vision of the same situation, and we bring back a different image.
And you seek to establish what kind of contact with your subject?
Sometimes you don't want to contact with the subject because you know that if he sees you, he's gone. So you need to be able, really careful.
Is this where you read the wind and you make sure you're
Yeah,
not
you
in
read the
path?
wind, or you make sure that you don't make any noise. And some animals can be dangerous. You know, this morning I posted an image of a black bear I photographed in Saguenay. And so at the same time, you're excited because it's an amazing animal. It's beautiful. It's black. And at the same time, you want it to be aware that you're there, and you want it to leave as soon as possible as well, because you don't want a contact with the animal. So it depends, you know, it depends.
And do you like to bring back a picture that you know is going to be successful because it has a certain pose, or it has a certain energy, or there's a gaze in the animal? Because you were saying 3 different photographers
Yeah.
will read the subject differently. Is there something that tends to guide your work?
When I leave for photo trip, like tomorrow I'm going to Saguenay and I'm going to photograph whales, and for 3 days. So I'm doing 3 outings on Le Fleuve Saint-Laurent, St. Lawrence River. And so when I leave with a purpose like that, I kind of decide in advance that there are some images that I hope I'm going to get. So I'm going to work towards that. And then there, Mother Nature is going to decide. So tomorrow it's going to be rainy. So my first sortie is going to be under the rain. So it's going to be more difficult technically and so on. When I leave for a project like I'm doing now, I'm working on a project, I have, you know, a purpose, and I hope to bring back some images. And for example, in Africa, I'm going in November, and I've decided what kind of imagery I hope to create there.
Yes.
So I'm going to work towards that, you know. But again, you're not alone in the creative process.
Right.
It's going to be Mother Nature, the animal, the light, and so on. So I think that I lost myself in your question. I'm not sure.
No, you're
if I'm
answering it as well. Absolutely. It's just I remember I went to your website.
Yeah.
And the connection I felt with a few subjects actually just grew my heart. I had this emanating sense of emotions just radiate out of me through skimming through your website and connecting with a few of your subjects.
That's the best thing
Seriously.
somebody can say to a wildlife photographer, because
Yeah.
that's what you hope to achieve, you know, because the first subject that will look at my image is myself. So, for example, for me, the most beautiful eyes are the eyes of a young leopard. They're still blue because when they're young, often they're blue. And they have big eyes like manga, Japanese manga. Mm-hmm. And when they look at you, your heart melts. And you hope when you bring back an image like that, that this will be the same effect for some of the viewers of your imagery. Yeah, so thank you for the compliment.
And sometimes there's a nonchalance, but a self-confidence that emanated from a spirit behind the eyes.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was perhaps reacting to.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful, but it touches the soul sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I was just wondering if through your work, you are looking for that moment as well, or how does that moment show up in the shutter?
You do, and you see it when it happens, mm-hmm. but you don't have a control over it.
Yeah. So you just need to show up, be prepared.
Yeah.
And be open to the magic?
Yeah, and then work the scene to make sure that you present it in the best way possible. So composition, lighting, all of this comes into play as well.
Hi, would you like to be on the show? Do you have any questions or ideas you'd like to share? Go to julietaylor.ca and leave me a message. Now you have to be interested, curious, and wanting to work with those elements, but can you also learn the skill to become a good photographer?
For sure. Every day I still learn. Just the technical aspect of it, and it's evolving with technology and it's hard to keep up.
Can you give me an example? Obviously, you probably work numérique now, right? Digital?
Yeah. And the possibilities with digital is tenfold what it used to be with film.
And now are you thinking to yourself, because I remember in a darkroom, you could also know, do I go further or do I stop? That line, even in digital, belongs to you. Which direction do I take this, given that I can manipulate the image slightly?
Yeah.
Is that also part of the art?
It is, but at the same time, it's a personal path. You decide. Sometimes I look at other work and I'm in awe of the way they do it. Other times it gets me angry because I say, you killed it because you're over-processed it and you don't need to do it. And it's also a journey, as a photographer. And I did it before, a lot of the photographers that are starting with digital will over-process because they're too excited. Yeah. They play with the toys.
Yeah. Your exhibition is coming up soon.
Yeah, at Théâtre Lac Brome. So it's going to be September 27th to October 30th. And we're going to have a special evening on the 18th of October at 7 o'clock. So I'll be there and be able to talk to people if you want to come and meet me and see the images. We're selling the images to help raise money for Main dans la Main, a very important organization helping children in the region here. So I hope that we're going to be able.
What does the organization do specifically?
So it helps children and teenagers in the region in many ways. It's pédiatrie sociale, and they are helping.
Social pediatrics? Loosely translated.
Loosely translated. Another great person for you, the founder, Anne, who's a doctor, could be a great person to interview for you. She does amazing work in the region. And
I'll make a note.
Yeah, so like I said, I want my photography to be purposeful. And in that case, it's baby animals. The exhibition is called Wild
lovely.
Little Hearts. So if you like to see little lions, cheetahs, and
chimpanzees.
No, I have baby baboons.
Yeah.
Baby.
Before they get a little gross.
Yeah.
They're babies, they're cute. I'm kidding.
I will tell you that all baby animals are cute.
Yeah.
Baboons babies are amazingly cute. Hyenas babies, they're like little bears. They're cute they're really cute cubs. But yeah, sometimes they get uglier, but they serve a purpose.
Happens to us too, by the way.
It does. Yeah, so
50% of
all proceeds.
All proceeds.
50% of proceeds. The other 50% pays for production of the framing, the picture. So 50% will go for Main dans la Main.
Lovely. Your website?
JADupontphoto.com. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and visiting and telling us about your work.
No, thank you for getting me here. It was really a nice conversation.
Thank you. This catchy, positive, upbeat pop song by Fred Bound at Free Music Archive is licensed CC BY.